Welcome to Podkey NFL, where camp storylines are already nudging the season into focus. A lot of these updates are really about identity. Who's changing schemes, who's protecting their quarterback, and who's quietly telling us what they think they are before Week 1 even gets here. Minnesota might have the most interesting quarterback signal of the week, because Kyler Murray is getting noticeably more first-team reps than J.J. McCarthy. And it's not just reps for the sake of reps. The offense has leaned into pistol and shotgun when Murray is out there, which makes it look like Kevin O'Connell is building a hybrid package around what Murray does best. That matters because this doesn't sound like a simple carryover from the McCarthy-era structure. It sounds like new plays, more downfield stress, and a real attempt to reshape the offense instead of asking Murray to fit into a box. A healthier Christian Darrisaw would be a huge part of making that work. He reportedly looks much better in camp after losing most of the last 2 seasons. And if the left tackle spot stabilizes, the run game and pass protection both get a lot cleaner in those pistol looks. In Chicago, the left tackle job is still completely open. Braxton Jones, Jedrick Wills, and Akeem Amagadage are all in the mix. So that's a real camp battle and not one of those competitions that's basically over before it starts. The Bears did get some steadier news elsewhere. Roman Duns looks healthy and available, and the team is just keeping an eye on backup running back Kyle Manunga with what sounds like a minor issue. Detroit added Devin White on a short-term deal, and that feels pretty straightforward. More linebacker depth, more veteran presence, and a little extra insurance in a room that needs it. That need got sharper, because 4th-round rookie Jimmy Rolder is expected to miss most of the season, which leaves the Lions thinner across multiple defensive spots than they'd probably like. On offense, Isaiah Pacheco is now paired with Sione Vaki, but neither one is being viewed as a great fantasy bet right now. That backfield sounds more useful to Detroit than to your draft board. In Green Bay, the big takeaway is stability. Jordan Love looks in command. Coaches say he's comfortable in the new system, and the dark horse MVP chatter is picking up. Matt LaFleur also made it clear. Love isn't dealing with real quarterback competition, which is exactly what you want for a young starter still building rhythm and authority. No side drama, just development. San Francisco took a tough hit early with Ricky Pearsall suffering a season-ending PCL injury. So now the 49ers are leaning harder on Deebo Samuel and their veteran receiver depth, which looks respectable on paper with names like Mike Evans and Christian Kirk in the mix. The problem is the health sheet still isn't exactly peaceful. Kirk has ongoing concerns, Brandon Ayuk is dealing with a hamstring issue, and suddenly that depth chart feels a lot less comfortable than it first sounds. Arizona got a much happier receiver update. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a strong first day in pads, and the praise is already getting ambitious, with some analysts projecting a top 5 receiver ceiling if the growth continues. For the short term, Michael Wilson is still viewed as the steadier target, and honestly, that might be ideal. If Harrison brings the explosion and Wilson gives them reliability, that passing game starts to look pretty balanced. Philadelphia seems to be shifting its offensive personality a bit. Beat reporters say the Eagles are moving away from a more traditional West Coast setup and toward more under-center looks, more motion, and more tight end usage. That usually means trying to be more varied, more physical, and a little less predictable snap to snap. Landon Dickerson is part of that story too. He's had stem cell treatment and lost weight, and the expectation is that both should help his play and address a spot on the line that had been a lingering weakness. In New Orleans, Chris Olave got the kind of contract that tells you exactly how the team sees him. Depending on health, the guarantees could land somewhere in the $77 to $90 million range. That belief lines up with the production they've seen lately, including 110-yard games and 9 touchdown catches. And now Jordan Tyson comes in as a complimentary receiver to help round out the group. The Rams might be one of the more fascinating teams in camp because there's continuity on offense around Matthew Stafford. And continuity is gold when your quarterback just came off an MVP-level season. They also made a major defensive swing by trading Jarrett Verse for Myles Garrett. That's the kind of move that can change how the whole defense behaves, because Garrett can create pressure on his own and give the secondary more room to be aggressive. Then there's the Aaron Donald possibility, which somehow still feels surreal and also very believable. He's been seen working out at the facility, and a comeback is reportedly more likely than not, though it would probably be in a limited snap high-impact role. The Rams have also quietly developed depth behind Stafford, with Stetson Bennett and Ty Simpson both improving, and they overhauled special teams under Bubba Venturone to clean up penalties and miscues. Punt return is still the one thing that sounds unfinished. Carolina's update is a lot less comfortable. They've got a real offensive line depth crisis after Taylor Moton's blood clot issue and the loss of Nick Gordon, which pushed a rookie swing tackle into immediate starting duty. Rasheed Walker was signed, Monroe Freeling was drafted, but both are still largely unproven and may have to handle big jobs right away. That's not where you want to be if you're trying to settle an offense. There's also a quarterback decision hanging over everything. Bryce Young's next deal is being projected around $30 million per year, in that Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold neighborhood. So the Panthers have to decide whether to extend now or wait for more consistency. And in the meantime, Dave Canales handed play calling to offensive coordinator Brad Esick so he can manage the broader roster picture. Since Esick already has a familiar working relationship with Canales, the change may be more about bandwidth than a full offensive reinvention. The Chargers feel like a team that knows patience is running out. They've had enough regular season talent to get into the playoffs, and with Justin Herbert healthy, the pressure is on to finally turn that into postseason wins. Mike McDaniel's offensive approach is leaning into quick game concepts to keep Herbert upright, which makes sense because the offensive line depth still sounds like an unresolved concern. Defensively, Chris O'Leary is still balancing between a safer zone-heavy structure and a more aggressive man coverage approach, and the third safety battle is a big piece of that puzzle. Tony Jefferson, Archie Mickens, and Jensen Smith are competing for that role, and whichever way that shakes out could tell us whether the Chargers want to live in more aggressive sub-packages or keep things more conservative. Dallas has its own protection question at left tackle. Tyler Smith is getting every snap there in practice, but he's still unproven in the role, and if it goes sideways, the Cowboys may have to move Tyler Guggen out from left guard, which solves one problem by creating another. The backfield looks more stable, with Javonte Williams expected to lead again, while James Blue has flashed some speed. That complementary back decision could affect how much 12 and 13 personnel Dallas really wants to use, and how dangerous their play-action game becomes. Jerry Jones also sounds very much in all-in mode, signaling a willingness to trade high draft picks for immediate help. It's aggressive, risky, and very on-brand. On defense, Christian Parker's early work has emphasized teaching, communication, and multiple looks. Fewer assignment errors are a good early sign, even if there are still fair questions about what his long-term identity as a play caller will be. That's the roundup for today on Podkey NFL. Camp is still the season of hints more than answers, but some of these hints are getting pretty loud. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.